Good morning, everyone. I'm Dan Gorodnick, Chair of the City Planning Commission and Director of the Department of City Planning. Welcome to today's meeting of October 8th. As I was noting a moment ago, we've got a dozen votes or so on everything from new homes to landmark designations, starting with a demapping of a portion of St. Raymond Avenue between Blondell Avenue and Waters Avenue in the Bronx. This action could allow for future lot consolidation and redevelopment. The street that is proposed to be demapped does not actually exist in practice. It's occupied almost entirely by the Westchester MTA rail yard. We'll next vote on an important MTA initiative to transform a vacant lot on the corner of 125th Street and Lexington Avenue in East Harlem into a mixed-use building with roughly 680 homes above the future terminus of the 2nd Avenue subway. Following the Midtown South mixed-use plan, this is the second land use application to enter public review that would use new high-density zoning districts enabled by City of Yes for housing opportunity. It's also the first such application from a non-city applicant. These higher density districts require mandatory inclusionary housing and are powerful tools to help address the city's housing shortage. We're next heading to Times Square to vote on an application to modify signage regulations to allow a new LED sign on the side of 1551 Broadway. The sign would be around 120 feet tall and overlook Father Duffy Square. The Commission will also vote on 5 new landmarks designated by the Landmarks Preservation Commission as part of the Midtown South mixed-use plan discussion. The Barbie building was one of the first commercial and manufacturing loft buildings to rise in the neighborhood. The 29th Street Towers are a pair of connected Gothic revival-style buildings joined at the base that served the fur industry. The Fashion Tower stands out for its distinctive decoration and pays tribute to the garment industry through a blending of Renaissance revival and Art Deco style motifs. The Fur Craft building includes distinctive ornamentation, including 2 fox sculptures that reflects its connection to the fur industry. And the Left Court Clothing Center played an important early role in the fashion industry here, including as the home of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union. Smart planning and preservation go hand in hand as Midtown South grows with new homes and income-restricted affordable homes. These 5 architectural gems will help enliven the neighborhood for current and future generations. Moving to Brooklyn, we'll next vote on 242 Siegel Street. This proposal would allow the construction of a new film production facility in Williamsburg. This project is the first to pursue the new CPC authorization for bulk modifications that was created through City of Yes for economic opportunity to help encourage these types of production facilities. We're also going to vote on a proposal to create 300 new homes, more than 80 of them income-restricted affordable, include commercial and community facility space at 1720 Atlantic Avenue in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. This development would be surrounded by lots of public green space, including Harmony Park, Imani Gardens, and Buddy Keaton Fields, and would sit a few blocks away from the A and C trains at Utica Avenue, the Interfaith Medical Center, and the Weeksville Heritage Center. Next up, the Commission will vote on 699 to 703 Lexington Avenue, a proposed building in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, with 85 transitional homes and supportive services for women and gender non-conforming individuals. The applicant, Providence House, is a nonprofit dedicated to helping women and families at risk of harm, who have histories of homelessness, or who have interacted with the criminal justice system. The project would be near Jesse Owens Playground, the B38, B46, and B52 bus lines, and the J train at Kosciuszko Street. Switching over to our public hearings, we'll kick things off with Praise Tabernacle at 10811 Sutphin Boulevard in Jamaica, Queens. This application by the Department of Housing Preservation and Development would facilitate the disposition of a city-owned lot to enable the existing church to undergo needed maintenance and upkeep. Staying in Jamaica, we'll hold a hearing on a proposed city map change by the New York City Transit Authority. The agency is looking to close a portion of Tuskegee Airmen Way and an existing traffic island between 165th Street and Merrick Boulevard to facilitate bus circulation and to provide parking within the new Jamaica Bus Depot. The existing depot was constructed in 1939 and is no longer adequate to service and maintain the borough's bus fleet. The upgraded and expanded facility is expected to open in 2027. The public is also invited to testify on the formation of the Coney Island Business Improvement District, covering around 360 tax lots with around 230 businesses within its proposed boundaries. The bid would provide supplemental services aimed at supporting, maintaining, and enhancing the conditions of Mermaid and Surf Avenues, including sanitation, public safety, district marketing, streetscape beautification, public programming, and more. Finally, we will wrap things up with a public hearing on Herkimer Williams in East New York, Brooklyn. This project would create 4 new buildings with nearly 990 new homes, of which nearly 250 would be permanently income restricted, affordable, as well as offices, retail, light industrial uses, and 20,000 square feet of a new public open space. To facilitate a portion of that open space along Van Sinderen Avenue, the New York City Economic Development Corporation and the Department of Citywide Administrative Services are co-applicants, aligning the proposal with the approximately $500 million in public investment into the Broadway Junction Transit Hub. This proposal would give residents and workers easy access to the A, C, L, J, and Z trains and the Long Island Railroad, as well as a future IBX station. It builds on the city's ongoing investment in this community, which included the Sustainable Communities East New York study, the East New York Neighborhood Plan, and the Broadway Junction Vision Plan. So, with all of that, let's get right to it. Madam Secretary, turning it over to you.
Good morning. This is a City Planning Commission public meeting held remotely and in person in the CPC Hearing Room, 120 Broadway, Lower Concourse. Today is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. I will now call the roll. Chair Gorodnick.
Here.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Here.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Present.
Commissioner Thurlow.
Here.
Commissioner Crowell.
Here.
Commissioner Doak is absent. Commissioner Gold is absent. Commissioner Goodrich. Commissioner Kermani is absent. Commissioner Mann.
I'm here.
Commissioner Marin. Commissioner Osorio.
Here.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Here.
A quorum is present. The first item is the approval of the minutes of the public meeting of Wednesday, September 17th, 2025.
Great. On the minutes, I make a motion to approve those minutes of September 17th. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, for the second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstaining? Okay, minutes are approved.
Scheduling. Calendar numbers 1 and 2. Scheduling Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025, for a public hearing to be held in person in the CPC Hearing Room, 120 Broadway, and remotely.
Okay, make a motion to approve the resolution. Thank you, Commissioner Ramprashad, for the second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed, nay? The resolution is adopted.
The next part of the calendar is the report section on page 5. Borough of the Bronx, calendar number 3, St. Raymond demapping. CD11, C2000099MMX, in the matter of an application for city map amendment concerning St. Raymond Avenue demapping. For a favorable report on calendar number 3, Chair Gorodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thurlow.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Mann.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
A favorable report has been adopted on calendar number 3. Borough of Manhattan, calendar numbers 4 and 5, MTA 125th and Lexington rezoning. CD11, calendar number 4, C250300ZMM, calendar number 5, N250301ZRM, and the matter of applications for zoning map and zoning text amendments concerning MTA 125th and Lexington rezoning. For favorable reports on calendar numbers 4 and 5, Chair Gorodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thurlow.
Recused.
Excused. Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Mann.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 4 and 5. Calendar numbers 6 and 7. 1551 Broadway Midtown Signage Text Amendment and Special Permit. CD5, calendar number 6, N250189CRM, Calendar number 7, C250188 ZSM, in the matter of applications for zoning text amendment and a special permit concerning 1551 Broadway signage. For favorable reports on calendar numbers 6 and 7, Chair Garodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Aye.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Mann.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 6 and 7. Calendar numbers 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Calendar number 8, N260077 HIM, CD5, Barbie Building. Calendar number 9, N260078 HIM, CD5, 29th Street Towers. Calendar number 10, N260079 HIM, CD5, Fashion Tower. Calendar number 11, N260080 HIM, CD5, Furcraft Building. Calendar number 12, N260081 HIM.
10.
The landmarks,
9 to 11.
8, 9, 10, or 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
There's no
Yeah,
10.
we don't have a 10 here.
It's in the calendar. That was an error on the memo. Yes.
Okay.
Missing one here. All right, thank you. Got it.
Thank you for catching that. Yes. Okay.
What was
Calendar
the
number-
number of the report? What's the number of the report?
The report would be, 1 second. It is calendar number 10 within the package, 2 seconds.
260079 HM.
That's 9.
No, number 10 is N260079
79 HIM.
HIM, Fashion Tower.
I got you.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Apologies for that. Calendar number 12, N260081 HIM, CD4, Left Court Clothing Center. And the matter of communications from the Landmarks Preservation Commission concerning landmark designation reports for the Barbie Building, 29th Street Towers, Fashion Tower, Furcraft Building, and Left Court Clothing Center. For the adoption of calendar numbers 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 for referral to the City Council. Chair Garodnick.
Yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Aye.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Mann.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Reports have been adopted to forward to the City Council on calendar numbers 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Borough of Brooklyn, calendar number 13, 242 Siegel Street Bulk Authorization, CD1, N250271 ZAK. And the matter of application for the grant of an authorization concerning 242 Siegel Street Bulk Authorization. For the adoption of calendar number 13, Chair Garodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Aye.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Mann.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes, and I want to thank the Brooklyn Borough Planning Office for following up on our questions. Thank you so much for that.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Calendar number 13 has been adopted. Calendar numbers 14 and 15, 1720 Atlantic Avenue rezoning, CD8. Calendar number 14, C230316 ZMK. Calendar number 15, N230315 ZRK. And the matter of applications for zoning map and zoning text amendments concerning 1720 Atlantic Avenue rezoning. For favorable reports on calendar numbers 14 and 15, Chair Garodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Aye.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Mann.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 14 and 15. Calendar numbers 16 and 17, 699 703 Lexington Avenue rezoning. CD3, calendar number 16, C250194 ZMK. Calendar number 17, N250195 ZRK. And the matter of applications for zoning map and zoning text amendments concerning 699 703 Lexington Avenue rezoning. For favorable reports on calendar numbers 16 and 17, Chair Garodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin,
Aye.
Commissioner Cerullo,
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell,
Yes.
Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 16 and 17. Calendar numbers 18 and 19, Queens CD3 Walk to Park and Brooklyn CD5 Walk to Park site selections and acquisitions are laid over. The next part of the calendar is the public hearing section on page 11.
Great. Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Just a reminder to those who are here joining us today and wish to be heard, you're going to have 3 minutes. We welcome you to step up to the microphone when your name is called, or unmute yourself in the Zoom when your name is called, and let us get to the first item of today's for public hearing, Madam Secretary.
Borough of Queens, calendar number 20, Praise Tabernacle, CD 12, N2600045HNQ. Public hearing in the matter of an application for UDAP designation and project approval concerning Praise Tabernacle.
Great. And on behalf of the applicant team, we have Kevin Paris, Duncan Miller, Cesar Cabines, Carolyn Brown, and Cesar Beckett. Welcome, and you have 3 minutes whenever you're ready. But before you do, turn on the base of the microphone, a little button. Base.
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair and Commissioners. I'm here. My name is Duncan Miller. I'm a senior planner with the Queens and Staten Island team at HPD. I'm here to present on Praise Tabernacle. For a brief agenda today, I'll go over the project overview, some of the background and history, and the proposed land use actions, and then give a little bit of information about the Praise Tabernacle Church and the benefits of the proposed actions, following by a Q&A. So the Praise Tabernacle Church is located in Jamaica, Queens, at the corner of Sutphin Boulevard and 108th Avenue. The existing Praise Tabernacle Church building sits across 2 lots, Block 10141, Lot 54, which is owned by the church, and Lot 87, which is owned by HPD. And the remaining portion of Lot 87 is vacant. And you can see Lot 87 highlighted in red on the screen. HPD, of course, is a housing agency. We explored the potential for developing housing on the vacant portion of the site, but ultimately determined that this site is infeasible for housing. As you can see, it is a very narrow sliver, only around 30 feet. It also contains the rear and basement entrances to the church building, and existing zoning such as rear and side yard requirements ultimately make development of housing very challenging on the site. And so HPD is seeking UDAP approval to convey Lot 87 to the Praise Tabernacle Church. For a bit of background as to how this lot came to be in this condition today, you can see highlighted in blue, Lot 87 was previously a part of Lot 79. In 1940, the church building was constructed, and at the time of construction, it sat across both lots 54 and 79. In 1984, the city acquired Lot 79 in REM due to back taxes, and this lot was included in the South Jamaica Urban Renewal Plan, Second Amendment, and subsequently subdivided into 5 different lots. And most of these lots, aside from Lot 87, were then conveyed and redeveloped as row homes. So today we're seeking designation of an Urban Development Action Area and the approval of an Urban Development Action Area project to convey this lot to the church. A bit about Praise Tabernacle. It was established in 1979. They host multiple weekly worship services and other community serving programs such as after-school care, the Overcomers Fellowship, and other events. They also host the Tehillah School of Urban Ministry. And so some of the benefits of the proposed actions to the church, they've really been hindered by this lot condition in their ability to make improvements to the church building and structure. There would also be several financial benefits to this action for the church, including the ability to refinance their mortgage. And these actions would ensure the future viability and certainty of the Praise Tabernacle Church. This would also benefit the community. As I mentioned, the improvements to the church structure would help improve the community space for hosting the church's events.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Let me see if there are questions for you from the commission. Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate your being.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, I'm going to call and see if there are any members of the public who wish to be heard on this item. I see none. So we will close the hearing on Praise Tabernacle, calendar number 20, and move on to the next item of the day, Madam Secretary.
Borough of Queens, calendar number 21, NYCTA Tuskegee Airmen Way City Map Change, CD12 C240097 MMQ, public hearing, and the matter of an application for a city map amendment concerning NYCTA Tuskegee Airmen Way City Map Change.
Thank you very much. And on calendar 21, we have an applicant team that includes Judy Gallant, Lucille Sanghe, and Michael Walko. Sorry. Welcome. Whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair Grodnick and Commissioners. I'm Judy Gallant from Bryan Cave, Counsel to the MTA, in connection with this application, which seeks a discontinuance and demapping of an approximately 260-foot-long portion of Tuskegee Airmen Way in Jamaica, Queens, as well as an adjacent traffic island. The demapping is required to facilitate bus circulation within the new Jamaica bus depot, which is under construction, and address community safety concerns. As you can see from this slide, the new depot will be located on the majority of Block 10164 in Queens Community District 12, which is located in an M11 district within the Jamaica Industrial Business Zone. The area proposed to be demapped is bounded by Liberty Avenue to the north, Merrick Boulevard to the east, the Jamaica Bus Depot to the south, and Tuskegee Airmen Way to the west. I'm joined today, as the chair said, by Mike Walko, who's the assistant project manager for the depot project, and Lucille Songhai, who is MTA's Senior Director of Government and Community Relations. Mike will explain the need for the demapping and take you through the project, and then Lucille will wrap things up.
Good morning. So the existing Jamaica Bus Depot was constructed in 1939. It is inefficiently configured. It lacks sufficient space for a growing Queens bus fleet and has poor employee amenities such as bathrooms, lunchrooms, et cetera. Consequently, the facility is in need of replacement, and we are constructing the new Jamaica Bus Depot. This is a routing map of the existing condition. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen to the south of the lot, we have our bus entrance on 107th Avenue, where we have Allen Senior Center and residential properties. On the bottom of the page to our west, we have 165th Street, where we have 27 adjacent neighbors. Currently, buses will enter through 107th Avenue, pull into the depot, be fueled, washed, inspected, maintained, and then proceed onto either their parking spot within the facility or have to make an external maneuver via public streets. This is a proposed street plan and bus routing diagram. We had listened to the community and our colleagues at Department of Transportation regarding our bus entrance at 107th Avenue. On the right-hand side of the page to the south, you can see we have listened. We have eliminated the bus entrance on 107th Avenue, and we have moved that now to Merrick Boulevard. Another Department of Transportation request was that all bus queuing needs to be within MTA property, meaning during fueling and washing operations, no traffic can back up onto the public street, causing gridlock in the local area. I'll briefly run through how buses will enter. On Merrick Boulevard, at the top of the page, buses will travel down Merrick Boulevard southbound, make a right-hand turn into MTA property behind a sound barrier wall that will separate us from the Allen Senior Center and the residential properties. Thereafter, we'll continue to an at-grade parking lot where the existing facility is located. And then the subject of today's demapping hearing, on the left side of the page, you can see Tuskegee Airmen Way, traffic island, and a segment of it thereof. Buses will make an elongated U-turn through this the area to be demapped, and proceed into the maintenance facility. Of note is the new facility, unlike the current one, is designed for articulating buses, which are 60 feet instead of the existing 40-foot bus fleet. Again, this entire process was done in conjunction with the local community, elected officials, and our colleagues at Department of Transportation. In order to meet the requirements that were imposed on us, we designed it in such a manner that requires this demapping. These are photographs of the island and segment of Tuskegee Airmen Way. The left photograph on the screen is standing on the segment of Tuskegee-Airman Way looking north. You see the island in the foreground. The right-hand photograph shows a eastbound facing direction of the segment to be demapped with the existing depot on the right. This is a construction condition. Department of Transportation has granted us temporary permission for a construction staging area. Both photographs are from Liberty Avenue. The left-hand photograph is looking towards the south, as is the right-hand photograph. And this is a rendering of the new facility. As you can see on the left-hand side, the area, which is the subject of the hearing today, is shaded by a light box, and it's difficult to see, but it's a light red shading. This island, again, is to facilitate bus movements within the facility to make a U-turn from the at-grade parking lot into the new maintenance facility. You can see the maintenance building on the left and top of the page, which has rooftop parking, and the at-grade parking lot, which is behind our administrative building and bridge on towards the right side. Importantly, our adjacent neighbors on 165th Street will be separated from us by a 31-foot sound barrier wall, and we can go into the technical details here. It will be a single-story bus maintenance facility with rooftop parking. We'll have a 3-story administrative building. The sound barrier walls I had already mentioned, 31 feet with the residents and 20 feet with the Allen Senior Center side. Importantly, this depot is significantly larger than the current one to accommodate a growing Queens bus fleet and to maintain service in the area. It will be a LEED certified building and built to support a future all-electric bus fleet for the area. I will hand it over now to Lucille Songhai, Senior Director of Government and Community Relations.
Good morning, everyone. So in consideration of a commissioner's previous question regarding employee parking at the depot, MTA employees are provided with transit cards that can be used for travel on subway, buses, Long Island Railroad, and Metro North. There are public parking lots available within close walking distance of the Jamaica Bus Depot, as well as free legal on-street parking that is available on the streets surrounding the depot. Additionally, the Q4, the Q5, and Q86 buses run on Merrick Boulevard and are routes that run overnight that can drop employees off directly in front of the depot. Additionally, there are a limited number of employees that work in the overnight hours, but we do not keep track of the preferences of how employees decide to get to work. Our expectations are that employees will utilize the best ways for themselves to be on time and ready for their work shifts. Additionally, as Mike talked about, we have been in close consultation with the community for the entirety of this process. Since October 2023, the MTA has hosted monthly construction advisory committee meetings for residents of 165th Street. These meetings include Queens Community Board 12, elected representatives, and surrounding community stakeholders to discuss the construction schedules, progress, and address construction-related concerns directly. We also have a dedicated project hotline that is available for non-emergency inquiries related to the project. Additionally, Community Board 12 voted 26-1 in favor of this demapping on June 18th, 2025. And at our recent hearing with the Queensborough President's Office, they recommended with approval with conditions related to MWBE and local hire, and our project already meets the Borough President's requirements for MWBE and local hiring. You can see those values here on the slide. Thank you all so much. We're here for your questions.
Great, thank you very much. Just one for me. If you can go back to slide 8, if that's not too challenging.
This one?
Yes. Just talk us through for a moment how the demapping here specifically improves the operations for the new depot. Since that's really the primary question for us, if you could just say a little bit more about what that space becomes, how it improves the operation, and how it would work.
So it's going to be difficult for me to explain this without a cursor, but on Merrick Boulevard, past the screen, actually this is better. So if you see on the top of the page, all the way on the top right, that's where we're going to be pulling into Merrick Boulevard. Department of Transportation had demanded that all bus queuing is within the MTA property. So to facilitate that, we travel past the behind the sound barrier wall on the right through the at-grade parking lot, and then all the way on the left-hand side where you see this U-shaped turn. That is the nature of this demapping. We need that in order to keep all bus queuing within the property and make sure we're not entering a public street with traffic or conflicting pedestrians, et cetera. So without that portion of the portion of the demapped area, we cannot make that U-turn to comply with community and DOT requests.
Got it. So the buses come in on Merrick, use the area here, I guess toward the bottom where you have the blue arrows turning into red as a queuing space so that they're not on the street. They take that, excuse me, the turn through the area that you're proposing to demap to go into the facility for the purpose of maintenance, cleaning, et cetera. Is that right?
Correct. And you can see immediately to the right of the U arrow on the left is our fueling station. Afterwards is our bus wash and the maintenance areas. So there is a significant amount of, we call it bus shifting or drilling. At the end of the day, we have about 200 buses now and expected 272 in the future. That is an enormous amount of buses to be moving throughout the facility. And this area to be demapped greatly increases the efficiency of the facility to help accommodate our bus fleet.
Okay, and then going back to slide 8 for 1 second, it looks like the treatment of that is, it looks like more like a sidewalk, but actually that will be the place, what I'm looking at right there, right where it's pointing area to be demapped. That's the place where the buses make that turn.
Correct. That is a concrete, it's going to be a charcoal colored dark concrete driveway. And on the left, you could see a sort of grassy area. This is for illustrative purposes only, but we intend to have a 6-foot tall architectural fence bounded the area on the top and on the left side. But you are correct. That is
okay.
That is concrete.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. Other questions, Mr. Vice Chairman?
I just want to clarify: is there any employee parking in this facility?
There is no employee parking. MTA does not provide for private employee parking, just for our revenue vehicles and vehicles in service.
Okay, so this won't lessen the impact of employee parking on the local community.
We expect that our employees will find public parking that is available in the public parking lots, or they can utilize the on-street parking. But as I described in the slide, we also provide transit cards for our employees, and so they are expected to utilize those cards and utilize different modes of transit to get to work.
And what's the closest public parking facility to this that you know of?
There's one on Liberty Avenue that is a 2-block walk away, and it's owned by York College.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Commissioner Benjamin?
If we could go back to the slide that showed the movements of the bus, that slide.
Mm-hmm.
So when the buses enter from Merrick Boulevard, they go around the U-curve, they go down to the stalls, they get cleaned, et cetera. Do they have to back out? How do they get from the stalls back to, how do they get from the stalls? Let's say it's the stall that's the closest to, is that Liberty or 108th? 108th.
107th on the right, Merrick on the top.
107th, the stall that's the closest. How do they get out from there and then back into the main area and then down the red arrowed area?
So buses in the maintenance bays and the last 3 are wash bays.
Yeah.
You would have someone flagging behind the bus. You'd have to back up.
It is
and do
backing
it internally.
up.
It is, it's a fairly narrow lot, but we maximized the space as much as we could with our colleagues at Department of Buses. Unfortunately, you do need to make a backup movement. In the interim, while we're still running 40-foot buses, these are stalls designed for 60-foot buses, so We do have, we call it an auto turn analysis. I don't know if you're familiar. We have software that tells us if we're going to be able to make the turn, so we've completed that. But yes, you'd back up and then make a U-turn within the facility, proceed to rooftop parking, at-grade parking. You can do that all within the property.
Okay, well then you should probably show that movement and the red because otherwise, for the buses that are in the stalls or in the washing bays, there's no way for them to get out. So you need to show the backing up movement and then the turn, I assume, that then they have to turn to the left.
Sure, yeah.
And then I'm just not sure of the next turn, where you show the blue arrow where they're going into the rooftop parking.
Correct.
So they go down there and they have to make what appears to be a fairly sharp turn one way or another to either go to rooftop parking or to follow the red arrow and get out. And how sharp is that turn?
It is a very sharp turn, but we have a massive 40-foot wide door that opens out onto the parking lot. The intent is that once buses are fueled and washed, if they don't require maintenance, they can proceed upstairs directly, so they don't have to make a turn at all. But buses that would be in a maintenance bay can either travel through that red arrow out to the at-grade parking lot or proceed onto their route directly from the bus exit thereafter.
And where do they come down from the rooftop parking?
The same ramp. It's a bidirectional ramp. I don't have it on this slide, but the roof provides a similar elongated U-turn where buses will travel down the ramp from the right-hand side of the screen towards the left, make a turn, and then they can do all that on the roof.
And they can do all of that if what I refer to as the bays you call...
Yeah, they're maintenance bays, yeah.
If that is full.
Correct.
Even with the new 60-foot buses.
Correct. The ground floor parking, every single bay is accessible to buses, even when the entire facility is full.
And the turn is still even tighter if the bays towards 108th Street are full.
The calculations were done assuming they're full. So
with the 60-foot buses?
With the 60-foot buses, correct. So we have, I think, either a 5 or 10-foot space behind the buses. It's quite comfortable. It's actually more space than we have at some of our other depots, like Mother Clara Hale. It is a very comfortable internal maneuvering for us.
And the internal maneuvering to get to the washing bays?
Correct. That's the hardest one. You're correct. That's the hardest one because you can't back up too far to the right, but that you can still make that. In fact, you can see there's a little bit of a cutout. I can't point to it, unfortunately, on the screen. But behind the last bus wash...
On 107th?
Yeah, on the 107th side, you have almost like a alcove that the buses can turn slightly when they're going back into the right to proceed with their front left turn.
And how many buses can be in the washing bays at the same time?
We have 3 wash bays. It's one at a time. That's only for specific washing needs because every day buses go through the automatic bus wash, which we have 3 lanes of in the front. So we have 2 chassis wash bays, which is for the underside and the sides. And then we have an interior wash bay that's for power washing the inside of the bus and cleaning it with chemicals and all that. So 3 at a time.
Okay, and the 60-foot, do you have any of the double buses at this facility?
The 60-foot are the articulated buses, correct.
Okay.
So the key part of this facility is that it needs to be designed to accommodate an articulating bus fleet just because of the additional capacity.
Okay, I just think that these turns are going to be, particularly when there are buses going in both directions, is going to prove to be difficult inside the facility, which makes me wonder about whether the design could have moved everything further so that there would be more room inside the facility and the bays?
So this has been like a 20-year-long process to try to figure this out.
Right.
We worked with the architects for many years to maximize the space in Department of Buses. Unfortunately, we could not locate a different site to purchase or move the depot, so we had to deal with the existing depot, which, where's my clicker? On the bottom-hand side of the screen here, you see the existing depot.
Right.
That needs to stay in continuous operation, serving the community while we do this. So we're limited on the, in the middle of the screen. That's where our wall can be.
And what do you see as the useful life of this facility?
Oh, that's a question that's difficult to answer. Most of our components, I think, are either 50 or 75 years, if I'm not mistaken. That's part of our master plan. I can't speak to that. I'm on the delivery side. That's a question for development. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Osorio?
Thank you, Chair. Thanks so much for the presentation. I have a couple clarification questions. So one, according to the materials, the borough president mentions that, you know, this would be a 100% zero emission fleet, but in your presentation you mentioned that there's a fueling station. Can you explain that?
Correct. So in the interim, we still need to maintain a diesel fleet. So we're not prepared yet, as well as the local infrastructure from Con Edison, we're not prepared to make that transition to a 100% zero emissions fleet yet. Consequently, with our colleagues at Bus Technology, we're going to be phasing in the electric buses over the years. So we still need to have the diesel facilities in order to fuel the existing fleet as we make that transition.
So it's not a 100% clean energy fleet at this moment. There's a plan to transition that, but I think you should clarify that. In the comments, it sounds like the borough president understood from your presentation that this was a 100% clean fleet.
Correct. The intent is that it will accommodate a future fleet as we roll out that transition. But
it's just that it's not at the moment. The facility is being designed to, as you said, to accommodate the transition, right?
Yes, we can incorporate those changes. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great. It's just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, because the borough president seems to understand that this is a clean, 100% clean fleet at the moment, and it's not. You just clarified that. Can you walk us a little bit through where the buses are going to be charged? What's the process there?
Sure. So at the bottom of the page, you can see the large rectangle is the at-grade parking. That would be the first phase. So we have the underside of the bridge. I'm sorry, again, I don't have a cursor, but
I'm with you.
Let me go to the rendering. You see that between the building all the way on the right and on the left, you have these roll-up doors and this bridge-like structure.
Mm-hmm.
Under there is the initial bus charging. So we have a steel structure. Underneath, we were going to add pantographs for overhead bus charging. And then you can see a perforated metal bridge sort of further into the page. It's white with cross bracing. That's where the chargers will be, and underneath are the pantographs for the buses. And then furthermore, you have two gantries that will serve the initial rollout of the buses.
Okay, thank you. That's useful. If you can provide some additional documentation on that, I'm just very interested in understanding how that would work. A couple other questions on that. Are you planning on having any battery storage, and where will that be?
Battery storage for what purpose? For
associated with the charging of the buses?
No. The only batteries that are intended to be in the facility are either like the 12-volt car-style batteries or the buses that are located on the packs, the buses' battery packs themselves. There's no intent, primarily, I believe, due to a fire hazard consideration, of storing the spare bus batteries on site. There's a separate vendor that deals with bus battery maintenance specifically.
Oh, so you will only be charging batteries on the buses themselves?
Correct.
Okay. And the other question is, so I commend you on the LEED certification. That's really important. But are you planning on having any type of renewable energy on site, solar or anything else?
Not at this time, no.
Why not? Why?
Part of that is I believe, a structural consideration, but that's a question more for development. They gave us the parameters to the definitions of what sustainability goals we had to meet on this project. It's difficult for me to answer the why not question. I'm sorry.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. If you can maybe get back to us with your rationale for it. It just sounds like, look, in terms of the charging of the buses, I understand. Probably you need maybe sort of like to work within constraints. But for the other type of energy requirements, it sounds like, you have enough rooftop to be able to at least, power some of the common areas, et cetera, with alternative, given where we're at, kind of like the large, big picture goals in decarbonizing the infrastructure, it would make sense.
Yeah, we'll look into that and we'll reevaluate.
Thank you. And then just one final quick question, if there's time. So thank you so much for your response to Vice Chair Knuckles' question on the parking. It's clear from what you said, what the policy is. But you are removing some on-street parking on Tuckasegee Airman Way, and so I'm wondering if there's an opportunity or what's the plan to replace them, or how do we reduce the impact on the neighborhood in that regard?
I mean, I think how we reduce the impact is really encouraging our employees to take advantage of the transit cards that are provided, and taking and utilizing public transit to get to work, which obviously does lessen the impact for the neighbors. And again, I think we really have tried to encourage our employees, if you are going to park, that you park legally, that you not impose on, the neighbors that, are undergoing the construction that we currently have.
Thank you, Noe. That's clear. I understand the policy in terms of the employees. It's just that reducing on-street parking is a neighborhood impact, and so to the extent possible, it would be great if you can think about, what could potentially be the public benefit that you bring in addition to improving the infrastructure and all of that part. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rampersad?
Thank you for the presentation. If you can go to slide 5 for a second, I had 3 just quick questions. In the event it does happen, because the buses do break down, when they're being towed into the facility, are they going to utilize that bus emergency exit, or what is the purpose of that particular, access point?
On the right side of the page?
Yeah, on 107th Avenue. When you tow buses in, are they going to be going through that same ramp behind the wall?
You can make that turn with a tow truck. That is not the intent. We wanted to verify that you can. That's primarily, as you're saying, in exigent circumstances when there's a breakdown and everything is blocked. We still need a way to get bus service out onto the road. The intent for buses getting towed in would be travel on Liberty Avenue and make the right turn onto the segment that remains of Tuskegee Airman Way, and then proceed through that demapped area because it allows us a nice sweeping turn into the facility. Additionally, we have a defect lane dedicated to buses that require maintenance or out of service. That's on the bottom side of the maintenance building, which is like the top of the bus parking lot.
Right. Okay, one last question, or 2 more questions, I'm sorry. When the bus drivers come in, can you just walk me through the process? Do they pull up to a certain point, or they know where to bring the buses? Because there's 272, right, in the fleet that's going to be at this facility. There's a lot of buses. I'm sure there's a lot of management organization. When bus drivers come in, do they know where to go? How does that work? Or is it like a valet attendant? You drop it off and someone from the service area takes the bus from there?
So it is very much like a valet. The shifters or the drillers have the very important job of taking it off the bus driver's hands. The intent right now is that bus drivers would proceed into the facility and drop off the bus if there's room within the at-grade parking lot, and then a number of shifters would hop in, take over, and move the bus within the facility. To my knowledge, the Department of Buses policy is that operators who drive on the street should not be driving the buses within the facility. To the Commissioner's questions, it is very tight and requires immense skill to maneuver within the facility at a low speed. So right now the plan is, to answer your question directly, leave the bus in the at-grade parking lot, and then a shifter will hop in and take over the bus thereafter.
And my last question, with the rooftop parking, how's the screening along Merrick Boulevard and 107th Avenue? Can you see the buses from the street? I don't know if you have a rendering from across, like you're on Merrick looking at it. Can you see the buses?
I do not have that rendering with me today. We could send it afterwards if you're interested. If you see on the left side of the building, you have this white white mesh. It's going to be an expanded metal aluminum, almost like a crosshatch screen. Our contract requirement was that the depot be designed so that you cannot see the buses in the gantries from the street, so you just see the building. You don't see any of our buses or infrastructure, so it maintains a nice aesthetic for people passing by on Merrick Boulevard.
When you have that, please send it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, I see no further questions on this one, so thank you very much for being with us. Any members of the public wishing to be heard on calendar 21? I see none signed up. We will therefore close the hearing on calendar 21, New York City Transit, Tuskegee Airmen Way City Map Change, and we will move on to the next item on our agenda. So thank you all very much for being here. Appreciate it. Okay, Madam Secretary.
For Brooklyn, calendar number 22, Coney Island Business Improvement District, CD 13 N 260074 BDK. Public hearing in the matter of an application for a business improvement district concerning Coney Island bid.
Great. And on behalf of the applicant team, we have Daniel Murphy, Dennis Porteris, Michael Weiss, Alan Newman, Theodora Buskevsky, Maya Miller, and Calvin Brown.
Yes.
Speaking of, Mr. Brown, good to see you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Gorodnick, Commissioners. I'm Calvin Brown, the Deputy Commissioner for Neighborhood Development at the Department of Small Business Services, and I'm here in support of the proposed Coney Island Business Improvement District. In addition to SBS' role as the oversight agency that provides support to the city's existing 77 bids, SBS also supervises bid formation and expansion process, serving as an advisor and resource for communities interested in developing or expanding bids. We are careful to ensure that each of the steering committees we work with adheres to our planning process, policies, solicit robust community input, and perform extensive outreach to collect and demonstrate broad-based support across all of our stakeholders. Moreover, we are cognizant of the unique nature of each community that we assist and aim to empower stakeholders to make determinations around the proposed services, boundaries, assessment formula variables, and budgets that best suits the commercial district needs and appetite and ability to pay assessments. Since 2017, SBS has invested over $800,000 in Coney Island. SBS has funded the Alliance for Coney Island to conduct a commercial district needs assessment, a CDNA, of the neighborhood, and this served as the impetus for bid formation, helping the community identify things that a bid can help solve for. During this time, the bid formation effort began. As with every bid formation effort, SBS has provided technical support at each phase of the process. Most recently, in 2023, SBS continued the investment and technical support in bid formation, providing the Alliance with a $300,000 bid development grant. This grant funded a targeted survey to help determine the bid geography and the services, as well as supported the mail-in of support ballots to public meetings to inform and receive feedback from the community. Throughout the bid formation process, the Coney Island effort has received the required support for a bid with little opposition, and I'll turn it over to members of the steering committee who can go into more details about the process.
Thank you, Calvin. Good morning, Chair Gorodnick and Commissioners. My name is Dennis Borderis. I'm the co-owner of Dino's Wonder Wheel Amusement Park in Coney Island. I am a proud member of the Alliance for Coney Island, a community board member for over 20 years, and a member of the Coney Island Bid Steering Committee. As Calvin mentioned, we are here today to present in support of a Coney Island Business Improvement District. Change the slide, please. The Coney Island bid formation effort is driven by a steering committee of a long-time local property owners, business owners, residents, and community members. Many of them are also active participants in the Alliance for Coney Island. The people who created this proposal are people who care about the neighborhood and have been working to make Coney Island a better place for decades. Slide, please. Why a bid in Coney Island? There are fundamental reasons why Coney Island needs a bid. The steering committee has formulated a proposal for Coney Island business improvement district that has the resources and capacity to address many of the issues identified in the needs assessment. The proposal is the outcome of years of stakeholder engagement and thoughtful deliberation and represents our shared vision for a cleaner, safer, and more vibrant neighborhood. The bid geography is focused on two main commercial areas in Coney Island, Mermaid Avenue and the amusement district. This bid is not just about the amusement district and driving tourism. It was really important to us to include Mermaid Avenue because Mermaid is the commercial corridor that services the people who live in Coney Island and many of which who work in Coney Island. Our next slide. The services outlined in the bid proposal respond directly to what we heard in the needs assessment and as well as our personal experiences as business owners. Perhaps the most important thing that a bid will provide is consistent sanitation services on both Mermaid and in the amusement district. Public safety is obviously a major concern. We have allocated funding in the budget for public safety and specifically for Mermaid Avenue. The bid will also fund marketing and promotions to increase tourism and brand recognition of Coney Island. The bid will provide funding for free year-round public programming and events like everybody's favorite, the Friday night fireworks, the sandcastle contest, and the polar bear plunge. The bid, will have a dedicated staff member that will respond directly to the community, manage the organization and programs, and advocate for local needs and with elected officials and city agencies. This is an outline of how we reached the maximum assessment. We budgeted for a max assessment that would sustain the organization for 7 to 10 years, keeping in mind inflation and minimum wage increases. We will start billing at $1 million and keep the assessment as low as possible for as long as possible by supplementing assessment dollars with grants and sponsorships. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague, Alan Newman. Alan?
Thanks, Dennis. Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Alan Newman. I represent the Seaside Park Community Arts Center that includes the Coney Island Amphitheater, the Child's Restaurant Building in Seaside Park. I'm Vice Chair of the Alliance for Coney Island, a member of Community Board 13, and co-chair of the Bid Steering Committee. As you see up on the screen, we developed an assessment formula to reflect our goal that every property will contribute fairly and according to scale. After carefully reviewing each potential variable, we determined that lot size was the equalizing variable defining our 4 distinct property types, Class A, B, C, and D. In brief, Class A is the amusement area, Class B is Mermaid, our commercial corridor, Class C, residential properties, which will pay $1 a year, and Class D for the not-for-profit class, which would include the aquarium, who insist on being evaluated fairly and being a part of our process. Again, in summary at this point, our assessment formula reflects our goal for every property to contribute fairly and according to scale. Change the slide, please. To save time, briefly, we launched outreach in March of 2024, which included the launch of informational website and other marketing materials. We translated the information into multiple languages to meet the needs of our community, including Spanish, Arabic, Hebrew, and Mandarin. We hired a dedicated staff for 9 months last year to do weekly door-to-door outreach to the Mermaid Avenue businesses. We engaged outreach volunteers fluent in Spanish, Chinese, and Russian. We conducted phone banking sessions, hosted merchant meetings, and presented our cause to retail brokers, commercial tenants, and property owners at our annual Brokers Breakfast in both 2023 and 2024. We hosted 2 dedicated meetings at our local YMCA to target the Mermaid Avenue businesses. Most commercial property owners received at least 2 phone calls. All commercial tenants received at least 2 phone calls and at least 3 in-person visits. In summary, since launching outreach in March 2024, we had over 1,000 touch points with property owners and commercial tenants. And of course, we presented our plan to the community board and completed our 2 required public meetings. Those were held in September and October of 2024. Change the slide, please. Here are some of the examples of our digital and printed outreach material. Change the slide, please. The key here is that we have support from 64% of the total assessed value of the district and no organized opposition. Change the slide, please. About Coney Island, the scale of public and private investment in Coney Island over the last decade is immense. We have newly mapped streets, several new residential buildings, and more to come. Coney Island will add or will have added approximately 3,400 new apartments to our neighborhood. The bottom line is that in order to meet the needs of this community and this growing community, we need the bid in order to provide those necessary services so that no one who's coming into the neighborhood leaves the neighborhood to shop and dine. Change the slide, please. In closing, bid formation has the strong support of our community board and our local council member. The Alliance for Coney Island, with years of proven success in managing budgets, implementing programs, and overseeing supplemental services, has infrastructure already in place and ready to pay it forward. Frankly, because of the Alliance, we know how to do this. So let's not let almost a decade of work die on the vine. Now's the time to create a bid in Coney Island. Thank you all for your time.
Great, thank you very much. And congratulations to you on lots of outreach effort and support to date. Obviously, we know how much work goes into bid formation, and it's obvious that you have done all of those things, so congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank
you. Let me start with Commissioner Cerullo.
First of all, I want to also say congratulations to all of you in getting here. I have a question, perhaps a little inside baseball. Calvin, maybe you could help me with this, but I found it very interesting. Just want to understand sort of the long-term impact. It's assessment related, and it has to do with the not-for-profit, the D1 class, as you called it on the chart. And I understand from the briefing on Monday, this comes, which is incredible, and that the aquarium sort of voluntarily, because they would not be statutorily required to contribute to the assessment, are willing to, I will say, which has nothing to do with this application, but I wish we saw more of that in bid communities around the city, where non-taxable properties might still contribute to some degree to the work that a bid is doing in a neighborhood. But this is a wonderful precedent setter in a lot of ways, and I hope people pay attention to this. My question is, what is the mechanism? Is it the district plan that actually creates some obligation, if there is one at all, beyond the voluntary willingness of this property to contribute? Since you're giving it a class, you're creating a class for it. And as opposed to, it's a donation, it would be just a sort of a donation by the aquarium or a not-for-profit in the neighborhood. Maybe they won't be the only ones. Maybe others will jump on board. But I just wonder, is there an enforcement element to this? Does it run with the property? Or is it that this executive director and board has decided they want to participate, but in an election with a new chair of the aquarium and a new executive, they say, look, our budgets, we can't contribute this year. And again, it's not a lot of, in the scope of your budget and the assessment amount, I just wonder how it's going to work.
Yeah, it's not enforceable, but they wanted to create a class just to sort of capture those funds that would be coming into the assessment from this. Okay. But, hopefully it does create this sort of precedence where we have more non-for-profits contributing into bids, but it's not enforceable.
It's not, so it's a fingers crossed.
It's the agreement that the board would have with the non-for-profit partnership.
As a point of information, yes, the New York Aquarium has been a founding member of the Alliance for Coney Island since its inception. Right after Hurricane Sandy, we all joined forces, yes, to not only restore our own businesses, but the aquarium had a severe impact from the storm. And everybody got together and pooled their funds and pooled their resources, helped each other out. And our first idea was to get the residents in the community up and running, because most of us business people didn't live there.
Right.
So you got to get these guys up on their feet first.
Yes.
And so the aquarium voluntarily has donated, as one of the stakeholders of the Alliance, tens of thousands of dollars every year to support our programs. And so we welcome them from the inception, but there is no enforcement mechanism.
Got it. I wasn't sure if there was one, and since there was an identifiable assessment formula for them, I didn't know if that could be changed, or was it fixed in the district plan and how it works?
We believe that a rising tide raises all ships. It's an investment in the community, and they are the largest stakeholder in Coney Island right now. So.
Yeah, it was just a way of recognizing the partnership that they have forged with this effort.
I commend you on it. I think it's brilliant and it's interesting, and I'll be interested to follow along how that works. And I think others in similar circumstances where the not-for-profit community is a critical industry, whatever their focus is in all of our neighborhoods, that this is something others would consider. So I just wanted to ask. I thank you for your response on that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Osorio?
Thank you, Chair. I also commend you on reaching this stage, and I also want to underline the support of the Borough President as the proposal to create the bid aligns very well with the Brooklyn Comprehensive Plan. So kudos on that. I also so much appreciate your comment about the important role that businesses have taken on in the past, particularly in the recovery after Sandy and so forth. Thank you so much for everything that has happened there. And my question precisely has to do with that. Given the opportunity that we have here in terms of, framing the bid, is it possible to be intentional in terms of activating the business community and creating a role for the business community, not just after disasters, but maybe in planning for, mitigating, preparing the community, et cetera? Like, I think that this is a cool opportunity to think about, what are the type of resources also that you need in order to play that role, but also to make sure that you are at the table when these decisions are being made in preparation for what potentially could happen.
Right. Amen. Exactly. Dan, you want to speak to that?
Sure.
Say something to that.
Hey, Commissioner, I just want to say, so to Alan's point during the presentation, a lot of what the bid would do would be, we would be able to do more of what we already do at the Alliance. At the Alliance right now, we're planning with SBS a giveaway of flood kits for the businesses on Mermaid Avenue. We're part of the South Brooklyn Co-ed, that is community organizations active in disaster. That came about after Sandy. We have been the middlemen in executing grants from the state office, the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery, right after Sandy. We'll be continuing to do that sort of stuff. So yeah, and we can't tell the future developers how to develop that, but the city can, and we're working on that as well.
No, understood, 100%. I'm with you, but I'm just wondering if there's a way to take advantage of the framing of the bid to formalize your role in that regard, the activities that you're doing, and perhaps kind of like what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be part of it, as we are a flood zone. And so that would be actually, that's the existential threat that we would live with every day. It's, we don't know when the next one's coming. So that would be part of our operations.
Great, thank you. So I encourage you to think about how to frame that, really, literally frame that into the framing of the bid.
I hear you loud and clear.
Thank you.
Got that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Mann?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what I think my other colleagues have said. Congratulations on all the work getting here. I know this is not an easy process. 10 years sounds like quite a journey to get to this point. So I just wanted to say congratulations on all the work, and I enjoyed the polar bear plunge.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Mann has done the polar bear plunge. It's on my bucket list.
We'll see you in January.
All right, see you in January. I didn't.
If I could just say,
I don't know, maybe just a cold bucket, says Commissioner Benjamin before as a trial. We'll see what happens.
To Commissioner Mann's point, we are part of the, we work with the polar bears to organize the polar plunge, and we turn it into a fundraising event. And one of our beneficiaries is the New York Aquarium, as well as some other not-for-profits, all in the local neighborhood.
Great. Thank you very much for that. Okay, I don't see further questions for you all, so thank you very much. We appreciate it. We have one member of the public who wishes to be heard and is on Zoom. That is Michael Russo. Mr. Russo, whenever you are ready and promoted, you may go ahead and have 3 minutes.
I don't think you said yes.
I apologize.
Yeah, you're okay.
You can hear
Welcome.
me now? Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. This bid has been a long time coming. As the oldest operating villages in Coney Island, I like this, it just helps the entire neighborhood. It helps the entire neighborhood. As the other gentleman said, this is pretty much a continuance of the Alliance, who has supported the community in cleaning up and maintaining the community. I don't want to take much of your time. I'm just, as being in the middle between the amusement district and the Mermaid District, it would affect me both ways, and we're in support of this bid. That's pretty much all I need to say. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to make a final call for members of the public who wish to be heard on calendar 22. Seeing none, we'll close the hearing on the item Coney Island bid, and we will move on to the next item for today. Next and last item of today. Madam Secretary.
Borough Brooklyn, calendar numbers 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. Herkimer Williams, CD5. Calendar number 23, C250285ZMK. Calendar number 24, N250284ZRK. Calendar number 25, C250288PCK. Calendar number 26, C250287ZSK. Calendar number 27, C250286ZSK. Calendar number 28, C250286AZSK. Public hearing in the matter of applications for zoning map and zoning text amendments, site selection, acquisition, and special permits concerning Herkimer Williams. Notice. A public hearing is being held by the City Planning Commission in conjunction with the above actions to receive comments related to a draft environmental impact statement, DEIS. This hearing is being held pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act and the City Environmental Quality Review.
Great. Let me note we have an applicant team to present, which includes the following people: Jacob Dugopolsky, Elizabeth Canella, Kenyatta Slade, Vivian Lau, Joseph McKenzie, Ethan Goodman, Tucker Reed, Haya Rizvi, and Adam Marr. Welcome to all of you, and you can go ahead and introduce yourself and get started whenever you're ready. Yes. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chair Gorodnick, and to the commissioners for having us here today. My name is Vivian Liao. I'm one of the principals of Totem. I'm joined by my colleagues, who the chair just listed, as well as a number of folks on our project team. In the interest of keeping our presentation short, I'm not going to take up a ton of time introducing our company in depth, except to say that our approach really to development is one that centers community to help maximize benefits for the neighborhoods where we work. And on all our projects, this includes a legally binding community benefits agreement that serves to memorialize the commitments that we make. This is especially important here for Herkimer Williams because of its scope and scale. This is truly a generational project that has the potential to turn what is currently underutilized parking lots and dirt storage into affordable housing, new open space, a potential branch of CUNY, space for new jobs and employers, while also preserving industrial jobs and providing growth opportunities for local businesses. These benefits would complement the more than $500 million of public investment that is currently underway in one of our city's major transportation hubs at Broadway Junction, a prime area for transit-oriented development. It is also truly a junction point, bringing together 7 communities that are deserving of vital resources. And as the findings of the racial equity report in our proposal show, the need for affordable housing in this area is especially acute, especially at low income levels. Our project targets housing creation at AMI levels that meet where the majority of East New York residents are today. This next slide shows the proposed rezoning area in more detail in the hot pink in the middle. That is currently right in the middle of all of those investments that are underway. As this slide shows, there have been many reports and recommendations made throughout the years about what would happen, what should happen at this critical junction, which we drew upon along with extensive community feedback to develop the first proposal that we submitted to start the environmental review process. Since that scoping hearing held nearly 2 years ago, we have worked closely with the local community board and dozens of community organizations, residents, and stakeholders having hundreds of touch points to incorporate their feedback further. This slide summarizes that feedback and also gives an emblematic list of some of the groups we have engaged with on a continuous basis throughout this process. The result is what you see here, outlined on this slide, a ULURP proposal that directly reflects community desires and would create over the next decade up to 1,000 units of affordable housing, new commercial and industrial space, new retail space at a variety of footprints to allow for small local businesses as well as destination retail in the final phase, new community facility space, including an option to CUNY to anchor up to 85,000 square feet, new open space, we did a calculation, the equivalent to the size of 5 NBA basketball courts, and as underscores our approach on all our developments, local hiring and MWBE commitments to ensure the community benefits from the economic opportunity being created here.
So, good morning, Commissioners. Turning to the program details. So as Vivian mentioned, we're committed to maximizing the affordable housing, especially for East New York residents. So we have been in discussion with HPD in utilizing their extremely low and low income affordability program, or ELA, to bring over 230 units of housing between 30 and 80% of AMI in the first phase of construction. So on the slide here, that's building B on the right-hand side. To help residents continue to afford to live in the neighborhood, we will continue to maximize affordable housing throughout the subsequent phases of development using a mix of city and state affordable term sheets. So subsequent phases would be C and D of residential. So although the first phase is anchored in housing, it was important for us to ground the first phase also with jobs and businesses in mind. So this is why we've been actively working with community-based organizations, all the names of them are on the slide, to create the East New York Green Economy Institute. So the Institute is envisioned as a space designed to support job seekers, strengthen existing area businesses, and make the industrial business zone immediately to the south of the project even more dynamic in the future. The third phase, or building D, so the left-hand side of this picture on the left-hand corner, is anchored is going to be home for both housing and a space dedicated to CUNY or higher education programming. So we've worked hard at the community's request to engage with CUNY probably over the last 3 years or so in this effort, and have offered them a free option to take up to 85,000 square feet of space in Building D, which you can see here. And they have essentially agreed to consider this in their expansion efforts, which is the letter on the right-hand side of the screen. In addition to higher education, we are exploring other uses that could be housed here, such as ambulatory care or other training facilities. The last phase would contribute about 440,000 square feet of commercial space, in addition to about 100,000 square feet of light industrial space. We have already received interest from a recording studio and expansion desires of the current businesses that are on site now. Knitting all the buildings together will be an active ground floor retail experience. After much community feedback, we've envisioned the floor plates to span anywhere from small scale, 500 to 1,000 square feet for neighborhood retailers, to up to about 40,000 square feet in the last phase that could house destination retail.
So enhancing that ground floor experience will be a network of open space improvements that create more of a welcoming experience for the pedestrians. Specifically on Van Sinderen, on Herkimer, and on Fulton, about 25,000 square feet that would complement the newly minted Callahan Kelly Playground and updated Broadway Junction train station. The design for Herkimer Williams incorporates sustainability principles that recognize the role greener buildings have to play in fighting climate change. We are striving for passive house standards for the residential buildings, and we'll also work to incorporate green building standards across the development. We've also heard, and this is a concern that was raised by the community board specifically, loud and clear, that any development at Herkimer Williams be well coordinated with all the improvements that are happening at the Broadway Junction train station. And right now, the timeline shows our first building slated to break ground following the completion of that MTA 88 work. In sum, the proposal we've outlined here today is a result of years of community conversations and a direct reflection of their stated desires and concerns. Not to mention what we hope is a generational opportunity to lay the foundation for equitable growth around Broadway Junction that can help address the city's housing crisis and create economic benefits for the surrounding neighborhoods. With that, I'll turn it over to Tucker Reed to help with questions.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Morning, Commissioners. Happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you very much. Good to see you all. Let me start myself. I want to just go through the actions.
Yes.
So that may be you, Mr. Reed, or maybe you want to.
Land Use Council is
okay,
joining
fair
me.
enough. That would be the norm here. So welcome. If you could just walk us through what you're seeking. It's good to have this slide up because what I'd like to do is have you explain it in the terms that one might look at this and understand why you need it and what it would do for you.
Sure.
Okay?
So we've got 5 total actions here. And the first one is the overriding action, which is a zoning map amendment. Currently, all of the properties are mapped M12, the entire property included in this project. The rezoning would remap all of the parcels except for the large floor plate building in the middle. All the others would be a C64. And then that large floor plate building in the middle would be an M16. Building E, I guess it's labeled there. Yes, sir, building in the middle. So that's a zoning map amendment. We would seek a special permit, a large-scale general development special permit. That would permit basically 2 things to happen. Primarily, if you look at the bottom, Van Sinderen Plaza, just to the sort of right of Van Sinderen Plaza is what we're calling PAA1, which is an open space. That parcel has just shy of about 50,000 square feet of development capacity under the new zoning. That 50,000 would be redistributed to buildings B, C, and D so that those buildings could include more affordable units and we could build an open space on that PAA1 parcel, right? We need a large scale to do that. The second thing the large scale would do is allow buildings B, C, and D to exceed height and setback regulations, maximum heights, setbacks from the street. That would allow more rational floor plates. You know, some of these floor plates, some of these building lots, especially building C, are fairly irregular shapes. So it allowed us to build a podium and to build sort of a uniform tower above it. We would exceed height and setback regulations for that. So that's what the large scale would allow us to do. Third is another special permit, and that's a large retail special permit for a retailer in excess of 20,000 square feet. That would be intended to serve Building E in the M16 district. The first 2 floors of Building E could be used for large retail uses, and that would total up to a maximum of about 76,000 square feet in those 2 floors of Building E, and that's the large retail special permit. Zoning text amendment is the 4th action. There would be 2 text amendments. One's to map an MIH area for all the C64 parcels, and the second text amendment would actually change the text of the large-scale special permit. It would allow us to cross an elevated rail line. Typically, all the large-scale properties have to be either contiguous or separated by a street. We are actually separated by the elevated rail, and so it would allow us to hop across that rail between PAA1 and Building B to get to buildings C, D, and E in the special permit. And the final action is a combined co-applicant action with the city, and that's a combined site selection and acquisition of real property action. This is for PAA 1, and what it allows us to do, it allows the city who's building the Van Sinderen Plaza to actually develop, design, and build PAA 1 so that it's coordinated with the Van Sinderen Plaza, and it essentially serves as one larger public open space. So this allows us to grant them an easement to build it. We then would take on the responsibility of maintaining the combined plaza once it's completed. So that's generally a summary of the actions.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much. Let me go to Commissioner Goodridge.
Okay. This project is not affordable for surrounding communities. From your own racial equity report, the annual median income for East New York is around $46,000. For the next neighborhood, Brownsville, is $34,000. I'm not even sure why anything other than very low income AMI would even be considered, to be honest. But most of the projects, most of the units for the income restricted units are over $2,000 for a studio. And that is not affordable to even moderate income, but it's definitely not going to be affordable to the surrounding community. And we haven't heard from anyone testify yet from, the public, but my guess is that this is probably a very big reason as to why the community is against this project. And considering that there have been over 100 meetings, very long process, why hasn't there been any movement here to have this be a much more affordable I cannot afford $2,000. I mean, I say this all the time. I have a huge problem with the AMI. I understand that I have a huge problem with the MIH. That's another issue, but it ties in here because it ends up being that here come these projects, and it's sort of like city-funded gentrification, because you have a whole bunch of, you have 49 of the units. The studio would be $2,000. This is from your own report. $2,000, $720 for that's just a studio. And then for a one-person household, you'd have to make six figures. So, I'd like some answer as to how after all of these meetings we're still at just -20.
-20, sorry, I follow all your other points. The last point, -20.
I don't even think we're at a zero. I think there.
Oh, I'm sorry, metaphorically. I got you. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner, for the question. This has been a very long process, and has been years of discussion with neighborhoods. I'm not sure if any of the commissioners got the chance to read the community board opinion, which was very detailed, and had a lot of caveats to their vote against the project. I will tell you, in the room that night, there was a lot of discussion about voting in favor or voting against, and whether or not they maintained the community board, and I don't want to speak for them, you'll speak to them yourself if you'd like, but maintain more leverage in our process as we move forward negotiating our community benefits agreement that we mentioned that we're going to be kicking off the process of literally today. And I think they felt strongly that they maintained more leverage in that discussion if they voted against. And so that was the tenor of the discussion. I will say, though, that the amount of work I think that hopefully is reflected in that very lengthy and detailed opinion, I think goes to show how much communication there was over many years about this project, and hopefully how far along we've come to try to meet the community in their asks. They have very detailed requests in the community board opinion about the affordability levels, which you so astutely point out. They're actually, they are directing us to really enter into deeper conversation with HPD, which we've already begun, about really focusing in on the yellow term sheet, that were the affordability levels that they wanted to see the project reflect. They, in fact, even offered up modifications to the yellow term sheet that push to actually more moderate income levels potentially in some of the projects, so it's both low income and median income. Unfortunately, I, as a private developer, do not have more tools at my disposal other than the HPD term sheets to offer the affordable housing at these deeply subsidized levels. What we have tried to do is work with the community on their desires to see the ELA term sheet reflected in the project, and we'll work during our community benefits agreement negotiations in the coming months to make sure that that's reflected in that agreement, so that when we are pursuing the subsidy discussions with HPD, it reflects what the community board and eventually, I'm sure, the council member and this body ask us to do.
How long from beginning to now has this process been?
2019.
So it's been 6 years.
Almost.
And when did the talk of having the deeper affordability, when did movement traction on that begin?
Honestly, we have said from the beginning to the community board that we were fairly agnostic to the affordability levels, since we envision this as an HPD, mostly HPD subsidized project, particularly in the first two phases. And so we really worked with them to try to understand what were the proper affordability levels that you'd like us to see reflected in our conversation with HPD. And I think their opinion really reflects that, in that they didn't just take the ELA off the shelf, they actually gave us much more detailed feedback and guidance on what they'd like to see us negotiate with HPD.
All right, so I'm trying to understand, is it like it took years to work with HPD to get the deeper affordability, or did that just start?
No, I would say, sorry, to just answer your question, I would say the years process was less a reflection of contention really with the neighborhood. There were many, many discussions, and some of those are contentious, some of them are quite productive. But yeah, no, I'm to your point on timeline, why it took so long. Two things happened. One, COVID, which really delayed our application process with the agency for a number of years.
How long it took? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So that's my first question is, when did the process with the actual conversations with HPD start, not with the neighborhood?
I would say we've been talking with HPD in earnest for 6 to 12 months at this point. You know, it takes a long time to kind of, and HPD's, I don't want to speak for HPD, but there's a little bit of a chicken or the egg process here, where HPD's general feedback has been come back to us after the rezoning is done, but that obviously is not enough guidance for our community conversations, right? So we have tried to engage where they've been willing to engage, and as of recent, it's been much more robust.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rampersad.
Thank you for the presentation. I have two quick questions. On Monday, I was asking about, on Building B, you're going from 10 to 8 feet. When you approached the department, what led to this?
Yeah.
What were you asking the department for? Ended up with 8. What were your discussions, I guess, with HPD, because you wanted to enlarge the floor plates?
Thanks, Commissioner. No, it's a little bit nuanced. It's really had to do with the setbacks that were mandated by the MTA. And then as the project got more real and started moving more through the process, and we felt comfortable deploying more dollars on design development, when we started to try to lay out the double load corridor, it became very, very difficult to do. And believe it or not, those extra 2 feet actually make the building function much more effectively and allow us to achieve the unit counts that we've described.
Okay, one other question I'm going to ask, I believe Commissioner Benjamin brought this up. The unit mix for overall for the project, how many 1, 2, and 3s, and what is the timeline of this project?
So the unit mix, again, will be mostly dictated by the HPD programs. But I can tell you our past record in past projects, we like to build family-sized units. In fact, all of our mixed income projects right now that we're building that actually came through a rezoning process and our MIH mandated, we don't build any studios because we've heard feedback from neighborhoods that there's not much desire for those types of units, that those lead to more gentrification and that more family-sized units are more desirable. So I could just say on our track record, we try to maximize family-sized units, and here it'll be in conjunction with HPD's process about unit size and mix dictated by term sheets and discussions with them.
And what's the projected timeline of this project?
It's a 10-year build. I think our timeline here at the end, we may have glossed over this too quickly. Do we have the appendix? I'm sorry. Here, next one. Sorry. Anyway, it's about a 10-year build. You can imagine after the rezoning that we would deploy significant resources to enter in design development for Building B, which is the first building. So that would be 24 months of design development, followed by 24 months of construction. And then depending on conversations with public subsidy, either at HPD or at the state level, our ideal would be to kind of continue that process and deliver each building every 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yeah, I'm, regarding buildings B and E, what kinds of industrial jobs do you contemplate there? Question one, and are you, within those two buildings, are you actually earmarking a percentage of the building to be industrial? I mean, is that a hard and fast?
Yeah. Understood. Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Building D is actually in the C64 zone, so that would not have industrial use. That building, we are hoping to anchor with a branch of CUNY, though. And so you can imagine educational programming that would support, one would think logically, the location here in the city right next to one of the largest industrial business zones to our south.
Yeah, I meant building B and E, buildings.
Got it. So in building B, we are specifically earmarking a space for the Green Economy Institute. That is not a hard industrial use, meaning, you know, traditional manufacturing noxious use. I would think of it more as classroom, collaboration, maybe some light prototyping space, but in line with the C64 zoning that does not allow for, obviously, hard manufacturing. But that is a commitment that we have made to our CBO partners. We've included it in underwriting that we've traded with HPD now, and so we very much look forward to delivering that Green Economy Institute in the first phase. And as my colleague Vivian mentioned, we really view that as a down payment on the future phase in Building E, which would be a complete commercial building that does have up to 100,000 square feet of industrial. And believe it or not, we have heard from a significant number of entrepreneurs in East New York who are already coming to us and saying they're excited about the opportunity. It's difficult when we're not going to be able to deliver this space for many years. But we have heard from a gentleman who has a recording studio called East New York Records, which I believe is actually located out in LA, but he's from East New York, and would like to bring that operation or a branch of that operation to Broadway Junction. We've heard from local small businesses, candle makers, clothing shops, other folks who might be interested in taking space here. And then also, you know, the MTA has a very significant footprint in and around Broadway Junction. And I think in the years to come, they're going to be going through a lot of thinking around, you know, the potential new IBX station that will come to this area. And they may have a need for swing industrial space in the base of the building. So even though industrial uses, obviously, as you well know, Commissioner, I'm sure, are very difficult to lease, you know, we're excited about the opportunity here.
Are you able at this point, and I know it's preliminary, to project what you think the industrial space will rent for?
It's almost impossible to tell you in terms of what the future holds, but I can tell you, and our colleague, I think maybe in the Q&A period, Bill Wilkins is here from the East New York LDC, who works a lot with the industrial businesses. I'm sure he could give us real-time information on what industrial rents are in the area, but generally in Brooklyn, you see them at $20 to $30 a square foot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Commissioner Benjamin.
Hi, thank you very much for your project and for your commitment. My question is also about Building E, which has the largest footprint, the most square footage and floor area, and I think is the furthest away in terms of the phasing. It also retains manufacturing and C44.
I believe it gets rezoned to M16 exclusively, no residential use.
No commercial use?
no residential use.
Right, but
M16.
344 is also a commercial zone.
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah, I thought you meant the residential component of the C44, sorry.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
the 400 and something thousand square feet of commercial, 514
Office, and
square
I
feet
understand.
of manufacturing and commercial. And then the exception that we're going to do to allow use group 6, retail, above 20,000 square feet.
correct.
10 years from now, times will change, things will look different. Is it possible that the entire building would be commercial and retail?
Meaning no industrial use?
Yes.
I mean, under the zoning,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that would be allowable. It is not in keeping with the discussions that we have had with our community stakeholders and will continue to during our community benefits agreement process. And so our desire is to locate, you know, I would think of it as more maker economy uses here. And if we have some preliminary interest already from tenancy that fits that mold, you know, we're excited to be able to deliver that space to them.
Well, how is the rent up going, if you know, on that new building that the city is in on Fulton?
How's it going?
Yeah, how's the rent up going?
As far as I know, well,
The office.
it's been anchored by
The city, so.
by the city, and I actually heard from that developer recently because he reached out to understand what was going on in our project, and he of that, I believe the 250,000 square feet of office space. There's ground floor retail as well. He has about 50 to 60,000 left to lease. So now he has the benefit of the city lease anchoring most of the building. Yeah.
And the retail is still not operational.
No, I mean, right now, there's not a lot of foot traffic to sustain retail, I think, until that building really opens. I believe, you all might know better than I do, but I believe that the city workers are moving into that building this month. So that should really help with the leasing on the ground floor, I believe.
I'm just concerned about the largest floor plate being, in certain ways, the most speculative, and the furthest out when you actually have a better idea of what this development will be able to handle and what the neighborhood will need.
Right. I hear you. This entire effort, we've been at it for almost 6 years, has been a real thread the needle type of effort, and has gone through many iterations. In fact, when we originally conceived of this project, following in the footsteps of the work that EDC and myriad of CBOs had done in the neighborhood in the wake of the East New York rezoning a few years ago, the desire for this space to remain 100% commercial, we were actually putting together a plan that would be 100% commercial, grounded with significant retail and commercial and industrial uses. Obviously, as we moved through COVID, that project became completely unfeasible for us to get our heads around or for the market to tolerate. And so we worked really hard with the Brooklyn office to reconceive of a plan that has gone through many iterations before it got to what you see here today. And also, I think during that time period, a real recognition by certainly neighborhood stakeholders, but also at a citywide level, that the housing crisis was something that really deserved a real focus in opportunities for transit-oriented development like this. And so we arrived at a kind of compromise approach with the Brooklyn office that was, you know, C64 on many of the parcels, but really trying to stay true to the, you know, legacy planning work that had been done to set aside a significant footprint for commercial. And so that's what this plan reflects.
And what would you do if the office market is in a lull when you consider investing in that last building?
So I think the thing that allows us to sleep at night on this conversation is because of the MTA's robust footprint in Broadway Junction. They actually currently lease that site. Our applicant team is not the owner. We're the owner of that specific site is a co-applicant, and they have a lease with the MTA for the space now, and are in constant conversation with the MTA
about what their evolving space needs will be. So I think, very much in keeping with what happened across the street at 2440 Fulton Street, to the extent that the market never arrives to allow for a ground-up commercial, which I hear you, we're living in an evolving world on all these questions, that there will be public uses that can make use of that site to help sustain it for the interim period. But I think we're all very excited. We joke with our colleagues at the MTA that they should consider moving the new headquarters of the MTA out to East New York and anchor a new building that would allow a significant number of new entrepreneurs to come to Broadway
I think you're
Junction.
going to get them out of Midtown Manhattan. I think you're dreaming.
One must
But-
dream in life. One must dream, Commissioner. Thank you.
But would you consider at all reducing the size of the building if the market doesn't seem to be there? Or changing the program for the building?
So within the zoning, you know, it's too late to change the environmental review, obviously. Correct. Right? So if the questioning is leading to introducing residential, I don't think that's what you're saying, but if it is, the ship unfortunately has sailed on that, and 5 years of planning work with this.
Well, you could always come back. Many, as Ethan will tell you, that's the nature of
that is
phased
true, though.
projects.
There's always an opportunity to come back if that were the case. But I think we are extremely excited about working with our applicant team to deliver a significant amount of new commercial space, jobs, and opportunities at Broadway Junction. And so that's our North Star and what we're going to try and do. And if the market prevents that in the 10 years to come, you know, we'll have to work with what we're given. But we've been very successful over our careers at delivering successful public-private partnerships. And I think, you know, we believe in our ability to try to do that again here.
Okay, so you can hear my concern, and I really am interested in whether perhaps we would end up with a shorter or somewhat less dense building if the market, given that more people are working from home and other things, I'm not sure that
Sure.
any of us know where the market is going to be.
And nothing, I totally agree, and nothing obviously in the large scale would compel us to have to build the entire square footage if another opportunity presented itself. If that's your point, then 100%.
Or if open space presented itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Osorio?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation and the materials, and thanks so much for your transparency in addressing our questions. It's really great to be able to have this conversation, and I really also wanted to say that from what I see it, this is a necessary part of the puzzle, of the larger puzzle, and I believe that this is an important investment that hopefully will trigger that larger long-term scenario that you're talking about. I just feel that we need to make sure that we get it right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in reading the comments from the community board and also the memo sent by the borough president, which I just wanted to first of all say that it would be great if you can respond to some of their points there, hopefully to a couple of them now, but also in writing, just for us to understand where do you see the constraints. But I was going to say that, you know, just from looking at the comments and Commissioner Goodrich's point, I do hear very clearly the need for deeper affordability, and as you pointed out, hopefully there's potential for increasing the diversity of the unit sizes. So, you know, we heard you on that. I just wanted to stress the fact that it does sound like we need to go deeper here just to make sure that this really have the impact that you're talking about. It doesn't feel like we're getting there yet, but I'm hopeful that, you know, as you continue to move this, we can get there. It just sounds necessary.
Thank you. I understand.
Okay, so moving on, a couple quick questions for clarification. So in terms of the CUNY partnership, which sounds really exciting, is there a formal commitment at this point or anything that you can share with us to understand where we're at with that?
We have not signed any formal agreement. We will be working, like I mentioned, on our community benefits agreement in the next 30, 60 days with a number of the groups. I will say that we have also, and not to pat ourselves on the back, but because much of our team are former public servants, we've kind of taken it upon ourselves to kind of hopefully go above and beyond what a traditional developer would do in terms of bringing together a program for something, an undertaking like this. So we've actually brought together 3 groups, East New York LDC, you'll hear from later, Central Brooklyn EDC, I believe you'll also hear from later, and Bach, the Brooklyn Business Outreach Center, who runs the IBZ, or administers the IBZ, to apply for a grant from EDC that would help cover some of the build-out costs of the Institute, and really getting everyone to work together over the last 12 months on like what the vision is. When you have to put forward an application, you really have to work through what's the business plan, what the vision is, who's going to be responsible for what. So I think we've made a lot of progress using that as a tool to bring everyone together on what the vision for the Institute could be. And so it's come along nicely. So while we don't have a signed agreement yet, in the months ahead as we move through the CBA, I imagine we'll get there. It's a little difficult to sign a lease before there's a building plan. But I think you appreciate what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to learn a little bit more in terms of, how that connects with the industrial space. I mean, I think that scenario, long-term scenario for building E, where the market shifts and the conditions don't really work out, and we left out the light manufacturing, is a horror story.
I think we can provide, we'll have to check with EDC, but I think we could provide you with our deck that gives you a whole overview of the proposed institute.
I would really appreciate that. Yeah. But just also to finish the thought, this type of workforce development that you're talking about is also necessary as long as we can incubate companies from the community that will actually be there. And for that to happen, they need space, and they need everything that we are discussing is only going to happen at the end with Building E. And so hearing you say that, okay, we'll see, we're hoping for the best, but maybe that part doesn't happen, then in my mind sort of like incompletes the puzzle, because local jobs here, particularly given the connection with the IBC and the proximity to the IBC, et cetera, is fundamental. Like, I feel that there needs to be like a clear, cohesive plan there. So for you to think about that.
Thank you.
Which includes perhaps the opportunity to have some industrial space in Building D. Maybe not all of it has to be wait until E, and there could be a mix that happens along with the workforce development, just for that to be cohesive.
Within the zoning that's allowable, of course, obviously it wouldn't be hardcore manufacturing, but I hear you, and it's something that could be interesting. And if I could just make the one point that the location here of the Institute that sits catty corner to the Broadway Junction train station and then across the street from the IBZ, we don't envision as only Building E solving the local hiring issues of East New York, right? I think what we work together with the groups to do is to create a new anchor to allow people with close proximity to the transit hub and close proximity to the job center existing already in the IBZ, which is way bigger than Building E will ever be. That would allow connectivity between the transit hub and the IBZ with a focal Green Economy Institute. I know that doesn't solve all of your concerns, but hopefully it helps address some of it.
Thank you. I have a couple more questions. Do I have time?
Yeah, just if you can wrap it up, though, because we do need to get to the public, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you. So according to the DEIS, there's a couple significant adverse impacts that, you say you're going to be working on until the FEIS, but just wanted to highlight air quality and pedestrians. To me, those are critical. I mean, air quality, because this is a designated disadvantaged community, so that needs to be addressed, and if not, repaired somehow. But in terms of the pedestrian impacts, one of the things that I've mentioned since certification here is that this is a very fractured part of the city, and even there's significant barriers disconnecting your buildings.
Yes.
And so part of the problem is the MTA, but that could be a good problem to have, given the fact that, this could be an opportunity to really work together to comprehensively address that. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we're bringing a lot of people that we're going to work here and live here, and the neighborhood could choke in terms of how quickly you can move across and how, connected that open space could really be at.
Yeah.
And so given the fact that that's addressed or flagged in the DEIS, I'm wondering if you can help us understand, where do you see the potential here to connect these spaces more directly within, but also with the outside? Because, Broadway, Atlantic, those are so like outer boundaries that right now are not very permeable. And so what's the opportunity here to really address that?
Thank you, Commissioner. So, like almost everything in this project, there are so many things that are outside of our control as a private developer here to try to deliver on. That said, I think what you see reflected on the screen is a first real step forward on trying to address some of those concerns about repairing the pedestrian experience at Broadway Junction. We worked really hard at a lot of urging from your agency to think about an open space network here to knit together each of the new developments, as well as the Broadway Junction train station, which sits across the street from us here, right? So EDC Plaza, maybe I can point to it here, which, no, that doesn't work. Anyway, you see it on the upper left and on the upper left side. I don't think it's going to be called EDC Plaza, but we worked really hard with city stakeholders to advocate for the removal of parking on that existing plaza where the MTA and the transit police park. And luckily, EDC really saw the need for that as well. And then we offered up our own private land just to the south of that to create a cohesive open space that connects the opening from Broadway Junction Transit Hub into this new development area. But beyond that, there are also a number of parks, plazas, street widenings, bus station improvements that we have worked on with your agency and friends at DOT to deliver on as we deliver on phases of this project. So I think the entire pedestrian experience at Broadway Junction is going to be transformed by this project and hopefully knit this together in a way that doesn't exist today.
Well, thank you so much for your responses. I know we don't have more time now, but if you can follow up in writing with some of these ideas, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Mann?
I just wanted to dig into the urban design questions a little more here as well. I think that's, I'm sure when you all first thought about acquiring the site and rezoning the site, this was, number 1 or 2 on your list of things to think through is how to make this a connective place, not just a set of buildings. But help me understand kind of the density at the core of the site a little bit more. Maybe we can go to the axon that you had, I think, at the end of the presentation. Just 'cause I'm just trying to understand. It's a large commercial building in scale and floor plate. It's a tight network of streets here. I think I'd raised that certification whether Herkimer made sense to close as a street to create something that resembles. Sounds like that's a sore spot for you already. But as a way to create some more breathing room here, given that there's a bunch of streets that come together, and there's sort of no center exactly. So I just was curious, just from an urban design and massing and streetscape standpoint, the thinking around not closing some of those streets, and creating some more kind of pedestrian relief and more of a center to the site.
Thank you for the question, and obviously really appreciate your expertise on these types of questions. I rub my temples because we went through 5 years of discussion, and the original application did call for the closure of Herkimer, and was met with fierce opposition by the neighborhood and the local council member. And so wanting to be responsive to community concerns, worked really hard to rejigger the entire plan to eliminate that closure. That said, and I don't know how much in depth we want to get into this, my architect from WXY, Jacob, can come up and maybe offer a few other thoughts if you'd like as well. But I would argue a little bit, this site plan maybe is a little bit misleading because we're focused on our properties, right? And the new public plaza that will be developed at this corner is actually part of a much wider EDC rebuild of all of Van Sinderen Street, as well as across the street here. Sorry to circle Chair Gorodnick's head, that's not my intention, but across the street here is a newly renovated Callahan Kelly Park, which is kind of a crown jewel of the East New York community now. And in fact, the NYPD Transit Bureau that is housed right in front of it, basically breaks the pedestrian experience from the entrance to the park to where that new plaza will be, is actually going to be moved. I think you all heard of an application a few weeks ago or months ago from EDC talking about relocating that facility. It's a little bit difficult to read here. But my long-winded way of saying, I think the new focal point will be the transit hub and the surrounding public space that abuts it, and the new development at 2440 Fulton Street and our project as well are really going to be built around a very significant new investment in public space in the area. And the plaza that we really feel will be kind of the open door to this new campus that we're developing from a transit-oriented development perspective. So I know it doesn't achieve a full street closure, but I will also add that we are committed to working with DOT on treatments for Herkimer that introduce traffic calming, introduce sidewalk bump outs so that it hopefully does make it, while not closed, does make it more of a pedestrian-friendly thoroughfare through the middle of the campus.
Okay, yeah, no, thanks for the answer, and I appreciate the challenges of navigating the number of stakeholders you all have had to navigate through this project. Just one other follow-up question. Just in terms of the areas of the rezoning, I was just trying to understand, this is probably a question you're going to kick back to the department staff, but just curious why the area just to the north, that sort of strange, I've forgotten my high school geometry, but isosceles triangle shaped site wasn't included in this geography?
We don't have any interest in land ownership there. And I believe most of the site is actually MTA controlled with overpass and parking and other things that would not necessarily be conducive to new development. There is a small triangular parcel at the corner of Broadway and Fulton that was the old Pathos Diner. There's a diner at this site. I believe the diner has recently gone out of business though, but the geometry of the site does not lend itself well to new development either. But again, I would defer to, like you said, DCP staff.
Yeah, because it does strike me that it's a little bit of a missing piece of this triangle that is the Broadway Triangle, or this section of the Broadway Triangle, not the famous section of the Broadway Triangle. And so I was just trying to understand why that wasn't incorporated, because it seems like, again, some buffering there.
We could follow up with a more detailed map or ask the DCP staff too, but I think once you look at it from a perspective of new development, it's
yeah, I'm looking at the map now. Okay,
so
I'll bug the department staff. Thanks.
Thank you.
We can do a follow-up
and I'm happy
conversation.
To help.
Yep, great, thank you. Okay, those are all the questions we have for you all. We're going to hear from members of the public, but thank you very much for your time and attention. Thank you. And let me move on to the public section of the calendar here for 23 to 28. We first have Haley Kim with us here in the room. Welcome. To be followed by LaShawn Allen Muhammad and Omaro Benjamin, who I believe both are on Zoom. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Haley Kim, and today I'm not here on behalf of myself, but on behalf of a member of the steering committee I lead. His name is Brother Paul Muhammad, and he just had a death in the family, so he wasn't able to join today. So I will be reading his testimony. Brother Paul Muhammad is a longtime East New Yorker, a homeowner, and a steering committee member for the East New York Coalition for Community Advancement. We are neighbors who have been fighting for justice for the junction for the past 8 years. We've held town halls, roundtables, virtual meetings about the redevelopment of Broadway Junction. We have surveyed the community, knocked on doors, and really listened to our neighbors, and this is how we have developed our vision for Broadway Junction. He also really wanted to let you know that CB5 and the coalition's demands and recommendations, which I'm about to go into, are very much mirrors and in lockstep with each other. And they include strong restrictive declarations being placed on the land being upzoned so that the uses, affordability, and commitments are clear and survive any change of ownership. The heights of the buildings should be reduced to 15 stories. 100% of the units must be affordable and match the needs of East New York, and must be at least 60% of the units should be at 30 to 50% AMI, and at least 40% of these units must be between 50 and 100% AMI. We both recommend that a displacement prevention fund should be established by the developer to support current renters and homeowners. A property tax raise within a 0.25 mile radius of the site for 10 years post-construction should be enacted. The development should include at least 2 educational facilities. We're pretty flexible on that, but CUNY is a preferred option. A reduction of the amount of office space from 440K by a quarter, or 110 square feet. We've repeatedly asked where the demand is for office space. The developer has been unable to show commitments from any tenants who will occupy the proposed office space. We also have demands for local hire and procurement. No apartment is affordable without a job. 50% of the construction and permanent jobs generated from the development should be reserved for local residents. 25% of retail space for local entrepreneurs should be set aside, and small businesses at rents that are at 25% below market rate. A community grocery store would also be a great addition to the junction to provide healthy, culturally competent, and lower cost food to East New York. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up is LaShawn Allen Muhammad on Zoom, and Amaro Benjamin to follow, and then Diane Sanders here in the room.
Good morning. Can you all hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony. My name is LaShawn Allen Muhammad. I serve as the Executive Director of Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation. We are a 36-year-old nonprofit and an economic development leader in Brownsville. We are also the founder of the New York City Equity and Environmental Justice Center. Because of our proximity to Broadway Junction, we have been actively involved over the past several years working with the developer, Totem, of the Herkimer Williams project. We are working in collaboration, as mentioned earlier, with BACnet and East New York LDC to create a Green Economy Institute at the Broadway Junction location. In service to this mission, the development team has acted as a catalyst for CBEDC and others to collaborate to maximize synergies and enhance the support we can provide to local job seekers and small businesses. Furthermore, Totem has connected us to city agencies that might help fund our efforts, also mentioned earlier, and also spent many hours working alongside our teams to apply for grants to help fund this collaboration. This kind of diligence is rare from a developer, and it speaks to the character of the team behind the Herkimer Williams project. I believe that the Herkimer Williams project heralds a potential transformative shift that extends well beyond Broadway Junction and will help ensure the community directly benefits from economic development on par with the prosperity enjoyed by wealthier neighborhoods in the borough. I urge you to support Herkimer Williams and aid our efforts to lay the groundwork for a more inclusive and prosperous Brooklyn for all. And I just want to, and I'll also submit this in writing as a formal testimony, but I also just want to address the concern around affordability. This is why the work that we do is so crucial to make sure that the job training programs that we're developing, the workforce development opportunities, allows a real pathway for community residents to become high wage earners. The types of training, the skills trades specifically that we're gearing towards will also help the community residents increase their annual income. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Great, thank you for joining us. Amaro Benjamin is next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amaro Benjamin. I'm the Vice President of the Crescent Companies. We are a certified MWBE with New York City and New York State. Our company cares deeply about the economic future of East New York. Like many others, our company has faced challenges growing our business here. But we have also seen firsthand the talent and drive and potential that exists in this community. That is why I support the Herkimer Williams proposal. Broadway Junction is one of the busiest transit hubs in New York, yet the area around it has been overlooked for far too long. This project is a chance to change and create real opportunity for businesses, local businesses, and MWBE businesses like ours. The developer has committed to MWBE contracting opportunities and local hiring opportunities, which would include businesses we work with, while along investing in training to help people access good paying jobs, which is essential to building a stronger East New York. Overall, I am confident that the Herkimer Williams project will bring economic opportunity to the community. So I'm excited to express my support for the proposal today.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Benjamin.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is Diane Sanders. Ms. Sanders, you here with us in the room? Yes, sir. Oh, yes, there you are. Hello. Hi. Didn't see you over there. Great. To be followed by Craig Wright. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello. My name is Diane Sanders, and I'm proud to say that I've been an East New York resident for 30-plus years and more. I've watched this neighborhood grow and change, but not always in the ways that help people who are here for too many tenants and residents, and especially seniors like myself. We've been priced out of the community. We've helped to build here, but we need to change that. We need more housing to be built in this area that is affordable and accessible. That's why I'm here today, to support the Herkimer Williams project. The proposal brings something we've needed for a long time, deeply affordable housing that's built for the people who are simply and already here. Totem has taken the time to listen to what the community really needs, unlike other properties or proposals that come and go without community input. This one reflects our insights, our voices. Herkimer Williams would bring 1,000 affordable apartments to East New York, giving more people a real chance to stay in their homes and their community, and it includes 25,000 square feet of public open square spaces to make our streets safer and more walkable, especially around Broadway Junction. I've walked by the vacant lots near Broadway Junction for years. It's time to put that space into good use and to build something that benefits all of us. The project represents hope for seniors, families, and future generations of East New Yorkers. Thank you for hearing me, and I urge you to support this new vision for our community. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for being here with us. Okay. I'm sorry. Ms. Sanders?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. We have a question for you from Commissioner Goodrich.
My question is about the affordability. So the project, you mentioned the 1,000 units, but the project would be 1,000 units and 200 to 300 of them would be income restricted. So my question is, how is the developer, because it sounds like there's a framing of this, how is it being framed as something that all of the projects would be affordable? Because it's only 200 to 300 out of the 1,000 that would be income restricted.
I really can't answer that. Basically, I'm just saying in areas such as myself, where I'm living at right now, it's still in East New York, but the rents, I'm a renter, I'm not a homeowner. It's crazy. It's really unaffordable, and I'm lucky, thank God, to have people that work with me, including my landlord as a tenant, to help me stay where I'm at, and I'm still struggling with that. And hopefully this will help us to get more affordable houses that we don't have to struggle to pay, and we'll be able to live there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next up is Craig Wright. Mr. Wright, welcome.
Yes.
To be followed by Reginald Bowman. Welcome.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Craig Wright, and I live in the area of Broadway Junction. And over the many years that I've lived there, I've noticed quite a change in the neighborhood. The rising cost of rent has made it harder for long-term residents, especially seniors like myself, to remain in a place that I call home. That's why I'm here for this Herkimer Williams project. We urgently need more housing in East New York that is truly affordable and designed for older adults and people with disabilities in mind. We deserve safe places to live that allow us to stay in our community, not in isolation or of being fear of being displaced. Okay. While I love this neighborhood to some degree, I have to be honest, and some areas around Broadway Junction aren't that welcoming, especially for seniors like myself. You know, there are a lot of barren areas and underused lots and just, you know, a vacant area of that is of some concern. The Herkimer Williams proposal would bring 1,000 new affordable apartments to this area. That is housing and stability, it's a peace of mind, and it's a chance to stay close to our churches, our grandchildren, and friends, and somewhat. The proposed 25,000 square feet of open space will make it safer for children to play and navigate the area, and will make it possible for older adults like myself to get to the trains and you know, can have some life of, you know, capability. This is our moment to build an East New York that works for all generations, and I urge you to support this project for our seniors, for our families, and for our future. Okay, thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Let's hold the applause, please. We're going to hold the applause. Move on to Reginald Bowman, followed by William Wilkins. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
How are you? My name is Reginald Bowman, and I'm a resident of Cefalo Houses in Brownsville, and I'm also chairman of the Brooklyn East District Council of NYCHA Resident Associations, which represent approximately 32 housing developments and 25,000 residents in the Brownsville, East New York area. I'm also a longtime resident of East New York. My family still owns a home on Jerome Street, and I've been very involved in the community for many years. However, as a leader in my community, I've seen a lot of development, and I've seen all the improvements that have been going on at Broadway Junction. And one of the things that I wanted to do as a community leader was be involved in the next evolution of what's happening in our neighborhood. Last summer, I invited the development team at Totem to luncheon of East New York and Brownsville resident leaders to present to us what the Herkimer Williams project was all about. Since then, the Totem team has engaged with our resident leaders on a regular basis, attending monthly meetings to invite us to the table to help shape the project and ensure that our residents have access to the future jobs and business opportunities that will be created by the development. I stated on the record before at other meetings that development of our communities, particularly the ones that are low income and somewhat labeled as abandoned communities, depend on developers being involved with us from the ground up. And the future of the evolution of these communities are going to be based on that type of process. And I have to commend the Totem Group for being sincere about working with the local community to make these things happen. And in spite of the paperwork and things that are going on, they seem to be trying to work to make sure that this place is not only going to be accessible, but affordable for our local community. As someone who's lived in East New York and Brownsville for a long time, I know how urgently we need more housing. As I said, I'm a product of the public housing community of the area, and have been involved in a lot of the different developments that have taken place since the 1960s. However, Totem has listened to our voices, updated their proposal to reflect our desire for affordable housing, and they continue to work with us to do so. And I think that this is the type of investment and a model that is needed for East New York and other areas of the community. So I urge you to support this project and help join with us to support this project, to bring it to fruition for the benefit of our community.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bowman. We appreciate you being here with us. Okay, next up is William Wilkins. Mr. Wilkins, welcome, to be followed by Sophia Brewster Ford, Jack Knight, and Quincy Ellie Cates. And that is all I have signed up for today. So if you're interested in being heard on this item, I encourage you to sign up now. Welcome.
Good to be here. I'd like to first start by saying yesterday is history and tomorrow is the future. It is go time. It is time to level up. Yes, finally, it is Zulu time in East New York. Zulu time is a geographically measured time across all time zones. This is the right plan at the right time, and we have the right commissioners with the authority to reverse decades of neglect. My name is Bill Wilkins, and I submit to you, your zip is not hip unless it begins 112. I've lived in East New York for 35 years, and I've worked 4 blocks from the project site for the last 25. I'm the executive director for 4 nonprofits, a local development corporation, a business improvement district, and also a housing development corporation, of which I have 700 units of housing in my portfolio. Every day, we go to work to grow businesses, change lives, and strengthening communities. This project falls in those 3 buckets. Since we live in the greatest city in the world, the real question to answer is how a major transportation hub can be a hot mess and blighted. The answer is res ipsa loquitur. It speaks for itself. Broadway Junction is in a Black and brown community and serves a Black and brown ridership. There was a time when the complexion of the ridership on the 3 chain and also at Grand Army Plaza and the ANC at Horton Skimmerhorn, the complexion of ridership changed. And at those instances, it became the Santa Maria. Today, we have a chance to turn fear into hope, nightmares into dreams, distress into opportunities by transforming urban decay into an urban oasis, a campus consisting of housing, commercial space, retail space, industrial space, institutions of higher learning, and a community facility. Together, yes, we can create an urban masterpiece that is 100% affordable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being with us, Mr. Wilkins. Okay, next up is Sophia Brewster Ford. Welcome, and then be followed by Jack Knight and Quincy Ely Cates on Zoom. Welcome.
Hi. Hello. My name is Sophia Brewster Ford. I've been living in Brooklyn for the past 25 years. I'm proud to be a member of 32BJ. I'm here today to express my support for the Hurricane William proposal. As a Brooklyn resident, I know how badly we need more affordable housing, 1,000 units, permanently affordable housing, huge benefit for all and who live in Brooklyn. As a union member, I know how mindful it is to have a good prevailing wage job and benefit that can support family. The developer has made meaningful commitment. Good job for the people like me who will work on all the buildings. Me and all my union brothers and sisters look forward to seeing affordable homes, commercial space, and manufacturing. That is a reasoning will bring up to the neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Thanks for being here. Okay, Jack Knight on Zoom.
Jack is no longer in the Zoom.
Okay, how about Quincy Ellie Kate?
We do have Quincy.
Okay.
Hello, Chair Garodnick and
Hello.
Can you hear me?
We sure can.
All right. Thank you. So my name is Quincy Ely Kate, and I serve as the Director of Industrial Business Development at the Business Outreach Center Bach Network. In this role, I work closely with industrial businesses across New York City, including the East New York and Flatlands Fairfield industrial business zones, supporting businesses' ability to remain competitive and grow in place. It is because of this work that we support the vision for a Green Economy Institute at Herkimer Williams, a 5,000 square foot space which will empower entrepreneurs, support industrial development, bolster a green local workforce pipeline, and create space that supports the growth of industrial businesses in East New York. Over the past several years, we have been working alongside Totem Development, Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corp., and the LDC of East New York to create a co-ventured incubator space to provide training opportunities, develop a green workforce pipeline, and provide affordable workspace to grow local businesses. Industrial and manufacturing businesses are critical to meeting the needs of this new green economy, and Broadway Junction's transit-oriented location, adjacent to the East New York Industrial Business Zone, can help strengthen linkages, enabling small businesses to start there and grow there into larger industrial space within the East New York IBZ in the future. The Bach Network is working at the forefront of connecting local businesses to supply chain opportunities in the green economy through programs such as WeSource NYC, Growing Green, and Wind Connections. This institute is conceptualized to build upon and catalyze our work and commitment in East New York to further support local job seekers and industrial businesses through a combination of workforce development, local business, supply chain development, and capacity building, networking and mentorship opportunities, access to affordable workspace, and a strategy that supports growth in place for East New York industrial and manufacturing businesses. Thank you for your attention and commitment to protecting our city's industrial economy.
Thank you. You have a question from Commissioner Osorio.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much for your testimony and for the work that you do. Just a couple minutes ago, we were discussing with the applicant the phasing of the industrial component here. As you may know, this is only happening until the end in the last building, and so given the long time between now and the implementation of that building and all of the constraints that were discussed, I would like to know if that phasing is like, what's your position on that? Are you worried that, you know, the industrial space maybe only happen at the end of the process, and there's a level of uncertainty on that? But also, what are your thoughts in terms of some of the ideas that were discussed earlier in terms of, like, maybe moving some of those that industrial space into Building D, along with the workforce development opportunity with CUNY, or whether there's been other scenarios that you've discussed? I'm very interested in understanding how do you see the prospect of that happening, given the circumstances.
Thank you, Mr. Osorio. Your interest in industrial space was noted earlier and very much appreciated. You know, it's not many times that we see developers interested in developing industrial space outside of industrial business zones. And, you know, to have Tucker and Vivian and their team, you know, connect with us now years ago and think about how holistically they could create space for industrial businesses was really refreshing. Our focus here has been, to date, has been really on the 5,000 square feet that would be the Green Economy Institute. However, I think it is really important to have deeper conversations about the next phase of industrial space that would be coming online. Well, it could be multiple phases down the road. We would love, it's not something, we have told them that we want to see industrial space, and we would really, love to work with them on including that. If there was a way to have more industrial space earlier in the project, we would welcome that. And I think Tucker and their team are open to having those discussions if it's feasible for them. They have been, to date, really good partners in thinking about the industrial business community. If there's a way we can do it earlier, we would support it.
Thank you. Can I ask a quick follow-up? Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I guess just to maybe rephrase my question and clarify something. If there's a scenario where we're only building the workforce development, the 5,000, but not the 100,000, and I think I can't remember if I'm getting the number right, but the industrial space that is proposed for building E, in other words, just the workforce development and the other part doesn't happen, do you still think that makes sense? Are you still?
I would really hope that they would move forward with the industrial space, the 100,000 square feet.
100,000, yeah.
I believe it's 100,000 square feet. We would, additionally, we would be very committed to supporting, trying to tenant that, looking at ways and working with their design team to make it really a space that industrial businesses could operate. I don't see, it wouldn't be heavy industrial, obviously. It would be more light industrial. We would work with them to try to make that happen. And I believe that they are sincere in their commitment to that through their ongoing engagement with the community and with us to date. So I know that there's nothing that would say it would have to be that use, but I believe that that's what they are really intending to do.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Let me just do a final call, see if there are members of the public who wish to be heard today. Before I close the hearing on calendar 23 to 28, I do want to note that the record is going to remain open through 5:00 p.m. on Monday, the 20th of October, for us to receive written comments on the DEIS. And last call, seeing nobody, we will now close the hearing on calendar 23 to 28. Madam Secretary, what else have we got today?
Chair Grodnick, there is no other business before the commission, but I do have some public information to share. For those who are unable to or did not wish to testify, you can submit written testimony online through DCP's website or by mailing your comments to City Planning Commission, Calendar Information Office, 120 Broadway, 31st floor, New York, New York, 10271.
That's great. The time is now 12:36. With appreciation to commissioners, members of the public, and applicants who are with us today, we are now adjourned.